am Jen Neely and I work with Excella Health. Excella is a proud sponsor of this year's Flavors of Westmoreland to support the Liver Foundation. And up first today, we're going to be making chicken parmesan with Rizzy DeFabo, the co-owner of Rizzo's Malabar Inn and Restaurant in Crabtree. How are you today, Riz?
Good, Jen. How are you?
Good, good. I am hungry already, so I can't wait to hear about your recipe. So let's step over here. First, take me around with the ingredients.
First, we got 4 boneless and skinless chicken breasts with a little bit of chicken broth that we're going to season up with some celery. This is the start of the dish. Don't be afraid to use the leaves either, because leaves are very flavorful, the celery. So put some celery, then we're going to put on a little bit of onion. You can put the onion on, you don't have to if you don't want to. And we always use a little bit of garlic chopped up as well.
A little bit of garlic, that's your good luck charm.
That's my good luck charm, I take it everywhere with me.
Now, Riz, I'm going to ask you, I noticed you're not breading the chicken.
No, it's not breaded. That's what people like about our chicken parm, that it's not breaded. So because people, they're watching the carbs, they're watching this, so they just like that natural chicken baked in the juices, topped with the sauce.
Looks great.
And some cheese. So we're gonna put a little bit of salt and pepper on top. You can even add a little bit of fresh or dried rosemary, gives it a little extra flavor to it, just like that. Then you put this in the oven, bake it at about 400 degrees for about 20 minutes, turning it once. Let it cook down real good, and then you top it with some shredded or sliced provolone cheese. Just put this right on top.
All right, now this is all ready to go in the oven. Let's pause for a second and talk about our side dish.
Side dish, you can do some of Rizzo's homemade gnocchis. You can do some of our Rizzo's homemade cavatelli. You can also try using some of our meat or cheese raviolis. All you got to do is boil them and top them with your spaghetti sauce.
Now these only take about 5 minutes to boil.
That's it.
Right?
Once they come to the top, boil them for a few minutes or till your desired tenderness. Some people like them a little bit more firm. Some people like them a little bit more soft.
And then we're going to top them with some Rizzo sauce. Is that right?
Find your Rizzo's favorite sauce. You have a choice of 3 cheese, a tomato basil, a marinara, and our traditional spaghetti sauce that we've been using in the restaurant for 77 years.
77 years. Now you're a 4th generation chef.
4th generation.
Wow, that is amazing. And look at this sauce. Now you guys recently launched the sauce line all over Western Pennsylvania.
Right.
And also really focusing now on the frozen foods.
On the frozen food products.
Very good. You know, one of the things I love the most about Rizzo's is the history behind it. You're 4th generation cook at the restaurant?
4th generation to work in the restaurant, side by side with my dad and brother.
You know, you can take home a little piece of history if you're interested. Rizzy has a book out right now, and it details the history of the restaurant since 1935 and dozens of wonderful recipes.
Recipes, all the history of the restaurant, stories.
Wonderful. And then your second book that just came out is a story about your grandmother.
Nana and I making wedding cookies.
Rizzy, Nana, and the wedding cookies. How nice. And what I loved about this book, too, was that most kids take cupcakes to school for their birthdays. Oh, no, not Riz. He takes Italian wedding cookies.
Wedding cookies.
So, through the magic of television, I'm going to bring out our wonderful
chicken parmesan.
Okay, now, serve it up for us, Riz.
All right, I'll put it on the platter here. Jen's gonna top it with some of that Rizzo sauce there. And we're also gonna put a few gnocchis on this plate as well. How about that?
That looks great. Wow. What a tough assignment I had.
Try real hard.
I know. Get the
There you
sauce
go.
on there.
Perfect.
Look at that. Let me get a little bit more on here. Looks fantastic.
There you go.
So, if you can't make it out to Rizzo's one night, maybe your best bet is to run to the grocery store. You can pick up the chicken. It's so easy to make, just a few simple ingredients.
Couple minutes.
And a few minutes in the oven. You can pick up some of the pasta and some of the sauce. And if you'd like to visit Rizzo's online, you can visit them at rizzosmalabarin.com or call and make your reservation. Rizzy, thank you so much for being a part of Flavors of Westmoreland. We enjoy having you. Now, in my opinion, there's nothing that tops a Saturday night, first with dinner at the Wooden Nickel and then a great band. And you are the reason behind most of what happens there. Joe Bello, and he is the chef at the Wooden Nickel in Monroeville. So excited that you're here with us today. Tell us about your experience, because you're new to Flavors of Westmoreland, but not new to flavors in general.
Absolutely. I've done about 7 years at Flavors of Pittsburgh under the different chefs that I worked for at the Marriott and the Capitol Grill. Last year was my first year by myself at Flavors of Pittsburgh, but this will be the first year at Flavors of Westmoreland. Excited.
And that's probably because you might be interested in tracking down some business in Westmoreland County. Is that right?
That is true. We are looking to expand into the Westmoreland area, so stay posted, and we'll let you know what's going on soon.
Awesome. So today you're making an appetizer.
Correct.
One of my favorites, scallops. What's it called?
It's a vanilla bean poached scallop. We use pure Tahitian vanilla beans for this dish, and we actually do it with stuffed shrimp at the restaurant too as an entree and as also an appetizer.
All right, get me started.
All right, sounds good. We're going to start with shallots. Shallots are a little bit better than onions. They're a little less pungent, but they got a lot of flavor in them. They're not quite as, they won't make you cry when you're cutting them. So start just a real nice rough chop on them. Doesn't have to be crazy. It's going to come out before you actually start the dish. So I'm going to actually just put one shallot in this time. It's going to go into the pan here. Goes onto the bottom.
Nice hot pan.
Nice hot pan. You don't want it to get too hot because you are going to throw some wine in here in a few seconds, and you don't want it to catch on fire too early.
No, but that would look cool on our video, right?
We'll be doing that soon.
Okay.
So we start with equal amounts of white wine and white wine vinegar. So a cup and a cup, pint and a pint, whiskey glass and a whiskey glass, whatever you want to measure with. So keeps it easy. Equal amounts, that goes right on top of the shallots. Into that, you're going to throw in some peppercorns. I recommend about 6 to 8 peppercorns. A little handful is good, and it goes right into the pot. That's going to simmer down. Put it on a nice medium heat. You don't want it to boil, but you just want it to simmer down. This is going to reduce into half. So while this is reducing, we'll work on some of the other components that go into it. It's kind of a long step to make this butter, but the butter works on a lot of different dishes. Seafoods always work nice. It's a beurre blanc sauce, basically. So you can use this sauce on pretty much anything and add things to it. So we're going to let that start up top there.
Okay.
I'm going to work on the vanilla bean end of it on this side.
All right. All right, next up, we're going to work with the vanilla bean.
Absolutely. So you use a Tahitian vanilla beans, the best bet. Tahitians are usually a little bit longer, a little bit easier to get into. And personal favorite, I went there on my honeymoon, so when you get off the plane, it just smells like vanilla beans.
That sounds great.
Part of the reason why I always use them. But you just want to slice this right down the center. So it's a little tough. Watch your fingers. You don't want to cut into them. You only get one set of those. So you just kind of want to split the bean right down the center. I'm going to open it up so you can see what it looks like on the inside, and then I'll finish splitting it as we move forward. There's a little bit of a paste on the inside. That paste is what you want. So you grab your knife and you actually come down the vanilla bean and scrape that paste out.
How about that?
That's where the flavor's coming from. We do use the whole pod just as seasoning. It gives a little bit more flavoring in the entire dish, but that vanilla paste is really all you're looking for. Okay. Into this pan, we're actually going to do some dark rum. And this is going to create the flavoring that goes into the vanilla bean butter.
I like how you think, Joe. Wine, rum.
Absolutely. It's a little bit for everybody, right? Now, I will warn you, it's going to flame up a little bit, so
all right.
watch
I'll
your
watch my eyebrows.
Don't catch your hats on fire.
That's fine.
Always take it off the heat when you're adding it in, just so that it doesn't catch on fire too fast. On electric, it's not going to be as exciting as it is on gas, so if you have a gas stove at home, it's going to catch on fire a lot quickly. As this kind of heats up a little bit, you'll notice that a blue flame will start to appear on top. That's when you're going to add in the vanilla bean paste.
Okay, so let's give that a second. How about that? Not something you recommend trying at home, though.
Yeah, like you said, on a gas oven, this will definitely shoot up a lot faster. So be careful when you're cooking. So as this is kind of burning down, be careful. You do not want to catch yourself on fire. I remove it from the heat and add the vanilla bean paste into it. I'm going to get as much of that paste in there as possible. I actually like to use the bean itself to kind of scrape the end of the knife off.
There you go.
Throw the whole bean in, and it'll go back on the fire and reduce to practically nothing.
How about that?
And you can see we're coming to a nice little boil on this end. Again, we want to reduce this down to half. So if you start with a cup and a cup, and make 2 cups, you want to reduce that down to 1 cup before you add the next step of ingredients.
Very cool. So how long would you recommend this boil and this simmer?
The boiling portion, probably, again, depending on how much liquid you do. If you start with a cup and a cup like we
So
did.
just watch it.
Just watch it. You want to get it reduced down to half. Typically takes about 3 to 4 minutes if you do about a cup and a cup. The actual paste portion of it with the vanilla bean, and again, you can use other flavorings if you want to use orange juice, if you want to use passion fruit juice. There's a lot of other flavors
Cool.
that you could put into the rum. That usually takes about a minute to a minute and a half after it actually catches. So you don't want it to go too far because you are going to include that right into your boiling liquid here. And as you see, it's changed the color of the liquid just slightly. Right, so now this is reducing down. I'm going to add the cream into this now. Cream will just get added into there. And you want to give that a quick stir. As I say that, and can't find where I put mine. A quick stir, just so that it doesn't separate. And again, you're going to let this reduce down to about half of the amount that you have in there at the moment.
This wonderful smelling mixture has now boiled down to precisely where you want it to be.
Absolutely. At this step, we're going to add just a little bit of lemon juice. Lemon juice brings out a little bit more flavor from the vanilla. And now the fun part and the healthy part, all the butter.
All the butter.
Now I recommend about the same amount of butter as you put in cream. So if you put in a half a pound of cream, or excuse me, a half a cup of cream, you're going to put in a half a cup of butter. But you're not going to eat it all at once. So you want to cube it and incorporate it about 1 to 2 cubes at a time. You don't want the cubes to sit on top because it'll start to break the sauce. And you'll notice that because you'll see all the fats rising. So you want to just add 2 or 3 cubes at a time and stir those in. If you wanted to turn this into a sauce instead of a poaching butter, the next step would be to remove it from the heat and strain it, and then the sauce would be finished. We're going to use it as a poaching butter, so we'll actually leave the vanilla beans and the shallots into it. Some people don't like those. They will end up getting a little bit onto the scallop itself, but I think it adds some flavor to it. So you could potentially strain this now if you wanted to after this is finished. So, okay, so now that that's pretty much all dissolved, what we're going to do here is we're going to add in the scallops. To this size of a mixture, you probably want to go with about 6 scallops. I use U10 dry pack scallop, which means that there's under 10 per pound. They're the nice big scallops. You can use the smaller scallops, if obviously you prefer those. The smaller ones tend to be a little sweeter. These ones be a little bit more meaty when you do them. But we're just going to put those right into the butter. Now the key here is you don't want this to boil, because if this starts to boil, your butter's going to break. So you do want it on a nice low heat as you do this. And you want to make sure that your scallops are completely covered in that mixture. Let it poach for about 4 to 5 minutes, depending on the size of your scallops, and you'll be finished.
All right, so our scallops are poached now.
Absolutely. So what we'll do is we'll reach in and grab them.
Look at
Again,
that.
you can drain this if you'd like, or if you want to add some more scallops now, the butter's made, so now's a perfect time to do it. And we'll plate them right here on this plate and give them a shot. A couple seconds here. You can see the vanilla specks there. Not a lot of color on this dish, so if you're worried about presentation, you might want to add some micro greens or some fun extra color there, but it's all about flavor. I was always told flavor first. That's why they both start with F.
Very nice. All right, that looks delicious.
Thank
Fork,
you.
sir.
Absolutely. The best part's eating it,
I
correct?
can't wait. They're so tender. Love scallops. It's just something I never make at home. And this was a great, easy recipe to do, I think.
Very simple, little time consuming, but it's worth the wait.
I'm in love with your scallops. It's wonderful. Chef Joe Bello from the Wooden Nickel in Monroeville, thank you so much for
Thank you very
making
much.
this wonderful dish. This is a great idea, and we're excited to have you out in Westmoreland County.
Thank you very much.
Good.
Enjoy.
Now, everybody's always looking for that healthy snack that also tastes fantastic. And who better to turn to than the chef at the wonderful J. Corks in Greensburg, Mike Stewart. Mike, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, 5 times you've been at Flavors of Westmoreland, number 2 on your own. Are you ready?
I'm ready to rock and roll. I couldn't be more ready, I'll tell you that much.
I'm so glad. Well, I am so excited to hear what you have planned for us today, which is a lettuce shrimp wrap.
Yeah, absolutely. What I'm doing today is sort of oriental, if you will, black tiger lettuce wrap, black tiger shrimp lettuce wrap, if you will. Basically, you know, everyone's sometimes against the carbs and carbohydrates, so I took a fun way to get the bread out of the picture, give it a sort of a new vehicle, and something that's light, quick, and refreshing, and something that's right up our alley. So we're going to jump right in, if you don't mind,
No,
Jennifer.
let's do it.
What we've got here is some 1620 black tiger shrimp, which is basically the size, and I'm just going to show you guys right now. It's as easy to pull the tail off, literally just
Wow.
pull it straight off.
How about that?
And what I'm going to do today is, you know, shrimp is an incredibly quick cook. So, you know, you could keep the shrimp whole, or you could do what I'm doing right now, and that's basically just pulling the tails off, and I'm going to give it a rough chop. Basically, the reason for that is I'm going to give uniformity in the bite. I'm going to be able to make sure it's not, you know, you're getting one whole big shrimp at once. You're going to be able to get what you need. And you know what? I think a little overcompensate. I think that should be enough. I'm going to give it right here. I got my gloves on, and always make sure when you're cutting shrimp or cutting a seafood, you want to make sure that's a different cutting board so you don't cross-contaminate.
Now, is this something we can try if we come to J. Corks?
You know what? I'll tell you what, if you come back there and you say you want a lettuce wrap, it's going to get made. I'll make it for you. You better believe it. But like I said, it's just going to be a quick chop, and I'm going to put that just to the side until we're ready. Take my gloves off here,
Okay.
and I'm going to start heating up the pan here.
Okay.
Let's see, front, right?
You want a really hot pan for seafood?
You know, honestly, anytime you're cooking a protein or whatnot, you always want hot pan, cold oil. So what I'm going to do is just sort of get it going. But like I said, shrimp cooks real quick. So I'm going to, you know, I'm not going to overcompensate and have too hot of a heat. I'm not looking for a crazy sear or anything like that. Just looking to move forward with a little bit of heat just so we can put it together. If you know, I'm going to jump into the rest of our mise en place here.
Absolutely. I'll switch it.
Basically, like I said, it's nice, quick, and simple. I've got some unblanched, unsalted peanuts here for a little bit of texture, a little bit of garlic, some green onion or scallions. These two right here are our Asian sesame slaw that we do at the restaurant. It's basically a carrot, cucumber, red onion, rice wine vinegar, and sugar mix with a little bit of sesame seeds. So that's going to be sort of our topper. And this is a teriyaki sauce, if you will. It's got a little bit of spice to it, and it's got a whole bunch of different ingredients that I'm going to make sure I get on the website for us, because if I start saying them right now, it's not going to be 10 minutes. It's going to be longer than that. So.
All right, we'll get you the recipe for that. But if you wanted to make it quickly, you could probably buy some Asian slaw.
Absolutely.
You could probably buy some sauce. And
Absolutely.
That'll make it a little quicker.
Yeah, all those things. It's just basically, we like to do things from the homemade approach,
Sure.
but at the same time, you could pretty much make this any topper you want or anything like you like that. So let's see, I'm just sort of waiting for the pan to heat up a little bit here. And while we're waiting for the pan, let me just take a look to show you over here, Jen. We've got some Boston Bib lettuce, and this is going to be what we're going to use for the lettuce wrap. Now, the Boston Bib actually is a member of the sunflower family, and it's a buttery or a butterhead type lettuce. It's got great texture. It's got a sweet, mild, and almost nutty flavor to it. So everything's going to work really well when it comes together. You know, you've got just this little bit for the, like I said, the vehicle, and it should give it a really nice, crisp, refreshing taste to it. And while I'm waiting for the pan to heat up too, a philosophy and something that I use and something that's important to me when dealing with Asian foods is simplicity is purity. It all comes down to just the clean nature of the taste. You know, I'm not going to be adding any salt or anything extra, because there's in the low sodium soy sauce that's in this sauce, it's going to have enough kick and enough a little bit extra flavor so you don't have to overpower.
Perfect. That's what I want to hear.
So right now we got our pan starting to heat up lightly. So like I said, hot pan and cold oil always. So I want to get that a little bit in there right there. And since the shrimp is usually a really quick cook, I'm going to probably start with a little bit of the aromatic here and just add some garlic and get this started. Sort of stir that up a little bit. Now we don't want the garlic to brown, or you don't want it to get too crazy, so you're going to want to keep an eye on it. But at the same time, you want to have it open up and really let some of those aromas start coming in. Now I'm going to move over here. I'm going to grab my shrimp off the board, because like I said, there isn't much into this dish. So into the pool goes the black tiger shrimp. Give it just a little bit of a stir there.
Wow, that does cook fast.
It does. It starts to brown up, if you will, or get that color on it real quick. So I just want to make sure.
Now, what I think is so great about Asian cooking and seafood is that sometimes it takes some of that fishy flavor out of it.
Absolutely. And, you know, honestly, me personally, I am all about fish. It's my favorite food.
Is it?
So I am all about making sure that, you know, I treat the fish correctly and, you know, I use them correctly and understand the different flavor profiles. Because honestly, even if it wasn't Asian, it's all about regional cooking and understanding what you're cooking, understanding what you do. But right now, I'm going to jump straight in. I've got a little bit of these unblanched peanuts. I'm going to add them in for texture just so they start cooking up there.
Great idea.
And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to let it sing with a little bit of our teriyaki sauce. Bring that all together. And like I said, that's, you know, we're not adding any flavors right now because, or any salt, if you will, because it just is not needed. It's just sort of like an extra, if you will. So everything, all the flavors are marrying together on their own right now. So I'm going to sort of just let that cook off a little bit. Let the shrimp finish. And as you can see, Jennifer, this is, I mean, we're talking minutes.
Minutes.
This is done. Minutes,
I love
this is
it.
done. Absolutely. Quick and straight to it.
I can't say I've ever cooked with peanuts. And I
Now,
think it's
one
great.
thing I'll say, when I get the recipe on there for everyone at home, the one thing I will say is that there is some sugar in the sauce. So whenever you're cooking, you know, the sugars have a tendency to caramelize or burn if you're not careful to the
Gotta be
bottom of the
careful.
pan. So you
Okay.
always have to watch, you know, the way you're using the heat in your pan and the understanding and the respect, basically, of everything. I'm going to finish.
I just got a lesson. I just got schooled.
I'm not trying to school. I'm just trying to help out.
Don't burn the shrimp, is what you said.
But right now what I'm going to do is, this is green onion, and I'm just going to throw this in there a little bit for color, just for the end there. So I'm going to give that a mix together. I am going to put this down here.
Okay.
And we're going to go over here and we're going to assemble the final product for our Boston lettuce wraps here.
All right.
We're ready to put this beautiful little lettuce wrap together. I've got some of this Boston bib here, and I'm literally just going to take some pieces off. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it right on our serving plate here to help you out. Straight on the serving plate, we're going to go grab our shrimp mixture with some peanuts, scallions. Real simple, real nice, clean. Put this back down. Like I was explaining earlier, we have our Asian sesame slaw, and I've just got a little bit right here just for garnish and texture. Throw a little bit more on here. And right there is a black tiger shrimp lettuce wrap.
That looks fantastic. I think we need to have a bite.
I think we probably do
I
need
think
to
we
have a
do.
bite. Let's go in here.
All right. Let's see.
You got yours? We got some good ones, right?
I got a good one.
Romaine lettuce sometimes is the best lettuce, but I just, for the texture and look, this is it.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. God, you gotta love it.
I love it. And I love working with you.
Thank you very much.
We're very lucky to
I'm
have
gonna
you.
squeeze in here real quick.
He's going to get himself a paper towel as well. This is a great recipe to try at home. And anyone who's sitting at your table for Flavors of Westmoreland is going to be very lucky. Thanks for all you do for the Liver Foundation.
Hey, I can't wait, and I can't wait to help everyone out for the Liver Foundation. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, next up we have Chef Jeff Curling, and he is the newest addition to the Ramada Inn in Greensburg, and we're so happy to have you. Your first time at Flavors of Westmoreland, but you're certainly no stranger to cooking. 35 years of experience, many of them as an executive chef. So tell us what you're making today.
Okay, today I'm making a cavatappi pasta dish, and it's alioli with an olive oil, garlic, fresh basil, sun-dried tomatoes, asparagus, and goat cheese.
Now, step one is toasting these pine nuts, right?
Yeah, we're starting off the dish by toasting the pine nuts in a saute pan. And what this will do will help to impart the flavor in the olive oil when we add the olive oil to the pan.
So you have it turned up high just for a few minutes to make sure they're brown on both sides.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We'll just keep stirring these. And they're moving along nicely. You just want to get them golden brown. And of course they can't smell this on the camera.
I
but
sure can. It smells wonderful. That's
I
great.
think we're about ready.
Okay.
And what we can do now.
Now you said this is something that folks could make at home if they wanted to. It's really
Sure.
not that complicated.
No, it's not a complicated dish, and it's very simple to prepare.
All right, now we've coated the pan with olive oil. What's next?
Okay, now we're going to add some garlic. And you'll notice that our pan is hot, so we're going to move a little quickly here.
Got some red onion in there,
Actually, it's shallot.
shallot.
Shallot, garlic. We're going to add some fresh basil here. Main thing is to keep the pan moving. I think we need just a little more oil. And some green onion.
Now you know all of your guests at the Ramada Inn are going to expect this whenever they come for dinner there.
Well, this will be on my new menu at the Ramada.
So we've got some roasted red peppers.
Roasted red pepper, some asparagus spears, a little more oil. I always like to use as little olive oil as possible. There's enough to coat the